large number of clients present to gyms and personal trainers with what's known as lower cross syndrome. In essence, this is a tightening of the muscles across the front of the hip and a weakening and slackening of the muscles at the back of the hip at the gluteus maximus region. This is often caused by people who work in office or sit down for long periods of time. Now, the main way to address this issue is to stretch the hip flexors, which make up muscles such as iliopsoas and rectus femoris in the front, activate the deep abdominal group, and finally to activate and strengthen the gluteus maximus muscle. If this isn't addressed, what will happen, if I can stand Terry up and move his side on, is that the pelvis is moved forward, and in so doing, straightening up creates a hyperextension of the lumbar spine and often leads to facet joint inflammation. So what I'm going to do now is take you through a couple of exercises to firstly stretch the hip flexors and then to engage and activate the gluteus maximus. To stretch the hip flexors, take a seat on the front of the bench for me please, Terry. Sit right up the front and now lie down. Lift the right leg up, and there will be a slight stretch in the hamstrings, but we're trying to focus on the muscles at the front of the hip here. So we're pushing down and we're creating stretch across the hip joint here. Another way clients can work on the hip flexors on their own is to move into a kneeling hip flexor stretch, whereby they start in this position. Terry. Step forward, bigger step, chest up, lean forward, stretching the muscles across the front of the hip. We can also pull the back leg to stretch the quadriceps and rectus femoris. So they're the classic mechanisms for stretching the hip flexors. The psoas muscle high up near the abdominal region is often hard to stretch and needs someone, such as a massage or sports therapist, to perform a psoas release. So I'll just get Jake here to perform a psoas release here on Terry. Terry, would you like to lie down? And move your bottom a bit further up the front of the bench. Lie down. And what Jake's going to do is he's going to move the hips, move the thigh, and put pressure in around the psoas muscle and try and relieve the tension of the psoas muscle, thus preventing the pelvis from being pulled so far forward. Now this can be a little bit painful, however, it is a fantastic method of releasing the hip flexors when stretching can't do the job. So once the psoas and hip flexors have been released and stretched, it's time now to activate the deep abdominal muscles and the gluteus maximus. For that, I'm going to ask Terry to put her feet up on the bench, shuffle her head backwards, activate the deep abdominal wall by slightly posteriorly tilting the pelvis and engaging the deep abdominals by drawing the belly button into the bench, tightening there, and now lifting the rump up in the air and clenching the rump muscles. This is a simple exercise to activate the gluteus maximus muscles and at the same time activating the transverse deep abdominal muscles. And relax. To progress the gluteus maximus and transverse activation, I'm going to use the red fit ball. If you could just stand up please, Terry. Move the... Come back and take a seat here on the ball. Sitting up tall with good posture, and now rolling your way forward to lie on the ball. Stop there. Again, slight posterior pelvic tilt. Stomach muscles strong. Clench the rump. And you pop your hands on your hips there. Just come forward a little bit, relax the neck. And can you feel your stomach muscles are tight? Can you feel your glute maximuses are working? And again, that's another progressional way of activating the gluteus maximus, transverse abdominis, and a touch of the hamstrings, which are also slightly underactive in this situation.